We avoid doing the hard stuff. You have this task that you need to do. You've been procrastinating it for the past week. But today's the day. You decided you're going to work on it till 4 p.m. and get this task done. You turn on your laptop, you sit at your desk, and what do? You find other stuff to do before the actual task. But once that's taken care of, you can start working, right? So you sit down, you're ready to write, and then you take a look at your to-do list and realize there's a lot of things on there. So you decide the smartest plan of action is to get rid of all of those little to-do list items first, and then start working on the main task. You spend about an hour doing that. Then you sit down at your desk, you open your Word document, you stare at it for a bit, but just as you're formulating the ideas, just as you're starting to get to work, you hear your timer go off. It's 4 o'clock, time is up. Now you have to go and work on other stuff. This task, well, you're going to have to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, the exact same thing is going to happen. If you don't feel like doing something, you'll dance around the task, but you'll never actually do the task. I am Layla from ShutUpAndAchieve.com, and this video is all about how to make yourself do something that you don't want to do. It's hard, you don't feel like it, whatever the reason. This video will teach you 3 strategies to get it done. David Goggins said, if you're willing to suffer, and I mean suffer, your brain and body, once connected, can do anything. Let's be real. Doing something you don't want to do does make you suffer. It feels like a form of self-torture. Since nobody wants to torture themselves, what do? You give in. You decide not to do the task. You put it off till tomorrow. You'll hate yourself tomorrow. You'll have to deal with it then, but that's tomorrow's problem. Success doesn't come easy. Success is a struggle. And as David Goggins said, if you can suffer, if you can connect your brain and body and make it do what you want it to do, you can achieve anything. So how do you do that? To shut up and achieve means to stop complaining. Stop making excuses and stop accepting them. Stop telling yourself that you can't do it. Achieving means taking the first step, putting in the time, doing the hard work, and living your success. The first step to getting yourself to do something you don't want to do is to get real with yourself. When you ask yourself, why haven't I achieved my goals? You weren't dealt the right cards? It's your parents' fault? It's your circumstances? You don't have the resources? Who are you trying to deceive? Because you know exactly why you haven't achieved your goals yet. You haven't achieved your goals yet because every time there's work to do that you don't want to do, you don't do it. You do other things. You prepare to do the task. You check off other to-do list items so it feels like you're achieving. But the real tasks that will actually build your success, the fundamental steps, you don't take them. You do busy work. At the end of the day, you feel like you achieved something because you did do stuff. You just didn't do the right stuff. Because the right stuff is hard. The real work that gives results is boring sometimes. It's hard. It takes a long time. And sometimes you're tired. You just really don't feel like putting in the work. Since when are these valid excuses? It's boring. Not everything is fun. It's hard. It still needs done. It'll take a long time. Time passes anyways. And you're tired? Do it tired. The way to overcome your excuses is to debunk them. It's hard. Sitting around won't make it any easier. You don't know how? Jump in and figure it out. You're tired? Do it tired. Your problem is you make an excuse and then you believe it. Your brain makes these excuses so you don't feel bad about not doing the work. I know I didn't do the task, but I was tired, so it's okay. I let myself off the hook. And down the line, when you look back and realize that you haven't achieved what you knew you could have achieved, you start blaming other things. Your circumstances, the people around you, your lack of resources. Stop selling yourself short. You are capable of so much more than what you're doing now. Why let your potential go to waste? You are capable of climbing 1,000 steps. So why stop at the first one? The next step to getting yourself to do things you don't want to do is to accept that you'll never want to do it. As I'm speaking to you right now, you have that one task in your mind, the one you never want to do, the one you always struggle to get yourself to do. How long have you been putting off that task? If it's something you have to do daily, how long do you put it off until you actually get it done? Whether it be exercising, waking up early, or sitting down to write. You may spend hours dreading the task before actually getting it done. And when you finally do it, you realize that it wasn't that hard. How long did it take? 15 minutes? An hour? Yet you spent 3 hours beforehand dreading it. So accept that you'll never want to do it. Do the task and show up like the achiever you are. It's much better than dreading the task all day and going to bed feeling like a failure. David Goggins said the reason it's important to push hardest when you want to get the most is because it helps you callous your mind. It's the same reason why you have to do your best work when you're the least motivated. When you start playing guitar, you get calluses on your hand. It hurts, but it's a sign that your hands are getting stronger. You can callous your mind by doing the hard stuff, doing the things you don't want to do. You debunk your excuses and you get on with it. Every time you find yourself resisting a task, push yourself to do it. The first time it'll be hard. The second time it'll be hard. The third time it'll be hard. But the fifth and sixth and seventh time, it'll get easier. You train your mind to do things that you don't want to do. This builds your self-discipline. Self-discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The third step to doing things you don't want to do is to focus on what you'll lose by not doing the task. When we talk ourselves into doing something we don't want to do, we start to think of the finish line. We think of all of the things we'll gain by doing what we need to do. Instead, ask yourself, if you don't do the task, what will you lose? There's a cognitive bias called loss aversion. This bias describes how the pain of losing something we have is twice as powerful as the pleasure we get from gaining that same thing. We avoid losses at all costs. If somebody walks over and gives you $100, you're happy. But if you lose $100, you're devastated. If you gain 5 subscribers on your new YouTube channel, you are really happy. But if you lose 1 subscriber, it ruins your entire day. Given the choice to gain something and not lose something, we choose to not lose the things we already have. Let's look at how you can use loss aversion to your advantage. Let's say you need to study. What do you gain by studying? Good grades? Praise from your parents and peers? A college degree. But what do you lose? If you don't study, you could lose your scholarship. If you don't study, you could lose your social status. Nobody will think you're smart if you fail a test. You could also lose your tuition money, because if you fail the test, you're going to have to retake the course. Well, let's say you need to do some work. What do you gain? Well, if you do good work, you get a promotion. You might even be named Employee of the Month. You could also gain your boss's favor. And what do you lose if you don't do the work? You could lose your job. You could lose your colleagues' respect. Nobody likes the person on the group project who doesn't do any work. You also lose your free time. Because if you don't do the work you need to do at work, you may have to take it home. Let's look at one more example. Say you needed to exercise. What do you gain? You gain health. You gain a beach body. And you gain better focus and cognitive function. But what do you lose? You lose money. You have to pay insurance. You have to pay for the doctor. And you have to pay for all the blood tests. You lose your freedom of movement. Many people who are overweight can't walk very fast, and they can't tie their shoes. You also lose life. Severe obesity decreases your life expectancy by 10 years. Next time you need to make yourself do something you don't want to do, take the 3 steps. First, get real with yourself. Then, accept that you'll never want to do it. Finally, focus on what you'll lose, not gain. These 3 steps will push you to do whatever it is that you're avoiding. As David Goggins said, callous your mind. Do the things you don't want to do and build self-discipline. This video was presented to you by Layla from ShutUpAndAchieve.com, a website dedicated to your success. We have videos about overcoming obstacles, maximizing your time, and achieving your goals. If you like this video, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.